The parking lot was half empty when I pulled in, and I sat there for maybe 20 minutes before I even cut the engine. My hand hovered over the key like my fingers did not trust the rest of me. I stared straight ahead, eyes fixed on the automatic glass doors of the little boutique gym Rebecca had started going to 6 months ago. I remember when she first mentioned it. Something about trying something new to feel alive again. I nodded like a clueless idiot, maybe even smiled. That was before I noticed the receipts. One from a hotel in Stamford, one from a rooftop bar 2 cities over. Not a single charge matched the night she said she was at her book club. And book club apparently now served wine flights and pillow mints. The steering wheel in my hands was wet with sweat. I could hear the faint beat of my pulse in my ears, pounding like footsteps in an empty hallway. You know that sound? That silence that somehow gets louder the longer you sit in it. She walked out the gym doors at 8:14 p.m. I watched her same routine. Tight black leggings, cropped windbreaker, ponytail pulled through the back of her cap. She looked younger, lighter, not like a woman pushing 60. But like someone who had recently shed skin that no longer fit. She did not look like a woman who just spent an hour on a treadmill. She looked like a woman who had just been wanted. And then this is the part that still burns through my ribs when I think about it. She did not go to her car. She walked past it. A black SUV pulled up at the curb, smooth as choreography. Passenger door swung open like it had done this dance 100 times. She glanced over her shoulder, quick like a thief. Then slid in. I caught a glimpse of him. Big guy, bald, probably late 40s. The way she smiled at him. I do not know how to explain it. It was like watching a memory that did not include me. I did not follow. I did not move. I just sat there, trying to process the full weight of what I had just seen. You think you'll react a certain way. You think you'll blow up, slam your fists, scream into the night. But when betrayal hits you dead on like that, it does not come with sound. It's all pressure, crushing, silent, relentless. I went home, poured myself 2 fingers of scotch I'd been saving since Christmas. And I waited. She came in at 11:32 p.m. She smelled like his cologne. That spicy musky scent that I never wore and never liked. I did not say anything right away. I asked her how book club was. She said it was fine. Poured herself a glass of wine like it was any other Wednesday. And then she looked at me for the first time in weeks. She looked at me like she had something to say. I think we need to talk. She said, eyes calm, like she was about to suggest we change our Wi-Fi password. I nodded once. And then just like that, she sat down on the edge of the couch, crossed her legs and said it. My heart was never yours. No emotion, no hesitation, just flat, cold truth. She said it like it was a fact, like she was telling me my fly was down. That moment will never leave me. Not because of the words, but because of how little she seemed to care saying them. Like she de-rehearsed them. Like she de-waited to say them. I did not yell. I did not even flinch. I just stood there for a long time, watching the woman I had built a whole life with tell me I was never more than a placeholder. When I finally spoke, my voice did not even sound like mine. Then I guess I'll stop pretending to hold on to something that never existed. And I walked out, took nothing but my keys and my dignity. I stayed in the car for the next 5 hours, drove nowhere, just sat in the dark with the engine off. My phone buzzing a few times before going silent. Rebecca did not call. Not once. That silence hit harder than anything she could have said. You know, it's funny. The first real emotion I felt was not anger. It was not even heartbreak. It was embarrassment. 35 years and I did not see it. Me, the guy who remembered to bring her tea every morning, who rubbed her calves when they cramped at night, who surprised her with flowers even after all these years. And still I did not see it. I was not the husband who got cheated on. I was the husband who got ignored. At 4:47 a.m. I finally drove. I did not even know where I was going until I saw the blinking 24 hours sign on a cheap diner off 95. Sat at the counter, ordered black coffee I could not drink, and stared at my reflection in the window. I looked tired but not surprised. Somewhere deep down, I think I already knew. Or maybe I'd known for years and buried it beneath birthday cards and Costco runs. A text came in just after sunrise from her. We should talk later. Do not make this harder than it has to be. That sentence. That one F asterisk 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 Angie sentence lit something up in me I did not know was there. Do not make this harder than it has to be. Like I was the problem now. Like my pain was an inconvenience to her. I drove home around 8, the house silent except for the low hum of the fridge and the ticking clock above the kitchen. She was still in bed. Alone. Sheets wrinkled on her side. I did not go in. I could not. I just sat at the dining table where we used to play cards and argued about whether to paint the walls beige or off-white. I stared at that table like it might answer a question I had not even formed yet. At 9:12 she came out. Hair tied up. Robin coffee already in hand, like she had not just obliterated 3 decades of history 12 hours ago. We can do this calmly, she said. I did not answer. I just looked at her, trying to find my wife in that face. But all I saw was a stranger who wore her expressions like a mask. Mark and I, she started, but I cut her off. Do not give him a name. Do not make this real. But she did. She went on. She told me it had started emotionally, that he saw her in ways I had not for years, that it just happened after a few reconnecting chats from when they'd gone to high school together. And then one night after a couple drinks it escalated. She used that word, escalated, like it was an argument, not a choice. I asked her how long it had been going on. She looked me dead in the eyes and said 2 years. 2 years. I laughed. I actually laughed, because what else do you do when the person you've shared your life with tells you they've been lying to your face for 730 days? I was going to tell you, she added quickly, but you've been so comfortable. I did not want to destroy your peace. My peace. My peace. I remember standing up, walking to the sink, turning the faucet on and off like my brain needed a rhythm to hold on to. Were you ever going to stop? I asked. She did not answer. That was the real answer. So I packed a bag. 1 duffel. Left the rest. Photos on the wall. Clothes in the drawers. Wedding album in the cabinet. All of it stayed. As I walked out, she said, "You're being dramatic." I stopped at the door. I did not turn around. I'm being free. Then I left. And this time she did not follow. I checked into a small motel off Route 7. The kind of place with paper-thin walls and a dusty vending machine humming like it's on life support. The front desk, I did not even look up when I handed him my license. Room 203. 2nd floor. Window facing nothing but a dead patch of trees and a gas station across the street. Perfect view for a man whose entire world just collapsed. I sat on the edge of the bed for a long time, still wearing the same clothes from yesterday. I did not turn the TV on. Did not even take off my shoes. Just stared at the carpet like it had something to say. There's this strange bitter stillness after betrayal. It does not feel like pain at first. It feels like a malfunction. Like someone pulled the plug on the simulation and all you're left with is static. She had not texted again. Not a word since "Do not make this harder than it has to be." And yeah, it burned, but a part of me was already adapting to the silence. Like a wound going numb just before it starts to swell. Around noon, my oldest daughter Claire called. "Hey, Dad. Mom said you guys had an argument." That's what she called it. An argument. I held back for as long as I could. Tried to keep my voice even, but the words twisted on the way out. I told her the truth flat and clean, that her mother had been seeing someone else for 2 years, that I'd left, that I was not coming back. Claire went quiet. I could hear her breathing change. Then she whispered, "Jesus, Dad?" I did not know. Of course, she did not. Rebecca made sure no one did. That was part of the betrayal to the deception, was not just in her actions. It was in the little performances, the Sunday brunches where she'd kiss my cheek, the Facebook posts about our quiet life, the anniversary dinners where she held my hand across the table while probably planning her next lie. She told us you'd been distant. Claire added, almost as if she was trying to piece it together, like emotionally checked out that she felt alone. I felt something sharp twist in my chest at that. Rebecca had rewritten the story before the ending had even happened. Setting the stage, casting herself as the woman who tried, who suffered in silence, who eventually slipped because she was neglected. Neglected? I carried her through her mother's death. I worked overtime for 3 months straight to help pay off her medical bills. I held her when she could not sleep. Made her laugh when everything felt too heavy. She said I was her anchor. Turns out she meant I was the dead weight. Claire asked if I wanted her to come by. I told her no. Not yet. I was already to have someone look at me with pity. Not her. Not anyone. After the call, I turned my phone off completely. Put it face down, and let the silence settle in like dust. That night I could not sleep. My brain kept replaying old moments in high-def detail, the first time Rebecca and I danced in our empty living room, her laugh echoing off the walls. The way she used to look at me from across the room like I was the only person that existed. And then it would snap back to that moment. Her sitting on the couch, legs crossed, sipping coffee like she had not just gutted me with a sentence. My heart was never yours. I whispered those words to myself in the dark motel room just to see how they sounded from my own lips. They tasted like rust. I did not cry. I did not scream. I just laid there staring at the ceiling fans spinning slowly above me, wondering how many other men had heard those words and walked away with their soul rearranged. I woke up the next morning with a kind of clarity that did not feel like peace. It felt like armor. Like something heavy had finally settled into place on my chest. I did not have a plan. Did not even have fresh socks. But I had one thing, the knowledge that whatever came next, I would not be a spectator anymore. I'd been on autopilot too long. Let her steer the ship while I patched holes in the hull, never asking why we kept sinking. The first thing I did was call a lawyer. It was surreal sitting in that cracked vinyl chair at the strip mall office going over 35 years of shared assets, memories and property like we were negotiating the terms of a car lease. "Do you want to fight for the house?" the lawyer asked. I shook my head. "No, let her keep it." He looked surprised. "You sure? That's a lot of equity." I was sure. That house was not a home anymore. It was a crime scene with throw pillows. Every corner held a ghost I did not want to keep. I told him to move quickly. No games. No back and forth. She'd already taken enough of my time. I was not giving her another damn minute more than necessary. When I left his office, I saw I had 4 missed calls. 2 from Claire. 1 from my son Tyler. And 1 from a number I did not recognize. I called Claire back first. She was crying before she even said hello. She told us, she said, her voice shaky. She finally told us the truth. Apparently, Rebecca had sat them all down the night before, told them I had left abruptly. And when they started asking questions, she admitted she'd developed feelings for someone else. She did not use the word affair. Did not say cheated. Just that vague, floaty language that sounds like honesty, but dodges all the damage. Claire said my youngest Adam walked out mid-conversation, just got up and left. She had not heard from him since she's trying to make it sound like it just happened, Claire said, like it was some emotional accident. Dad, I swear, I did not know. I believe you, I told her, and I did. My kids did not deserve this any more than I did. That night I got a message from Rebecca. First time she'd reached out since I left. We need to talk, not about the past, about what happens next. We do not have to make this ugly. Ugly. I sat on that message for an hour, pacing the tiny motel room like a caged animal. Then I called her straight to the point. What exactly do you think happens next? She did not miss a beat. We divide what needs to be divided. We tell the kids not to take sides. We keep it civil. Civil. I repeated, choking down the bitterness. You've been screwing someone else for 2 years and lying to everyone's face, and now you want to play civil. Her voice tightened. Michael, I know you're hurt, but do not make this harder than it. There it is again. I snapped that damn line. Do not make this harder. You know what's harder than this. Waking up next to someone who's pretending to love you for 2f*******ing years. She went quiet. Then in that cold composed voice she's perfected over time. She said you were comfortable? Michael, you stopped seeing me. You stopped wanting me. What was I supposed to do? Rot in that kitchen while you watched golf and acted like everything was fine. I laughed. A dry broken sound. Do not rewrite this. You did not fall into his arms because you were lonely. You chose him over me, over your family, over your dignity. There was a pause. Then softly, she said, I was already gone? Mike, long before he showed up, that hit harder than anything else because I realized something right. Then she was not trying to win me back. She was trying to clear her conscience, trying to make it easier to look herself in the mirror. We ended the call with no goodbyes, just silence. Then the dull click of disconnection. I stared at my phone for a long time after my hand was shaking, but my spine felt straighter. That night I finally slept. And for the first time in a long time, she was not in my dreams. The motel room smelled like dust and lemon disinfectant, the kind of clean that's more about appearance than reality. I stood in front of the mirror the next morning and did not recognize the man staring back at me. Not just because of the lines in his face or the red around his eyes, but because of the weight that was gone. There was no pretending left in him. No false smiles. No quiet endurance. Just truth. Sharp, raw, and finally out in the open. The lawyer called at 9:13 a.m. Rebecca had responded to the divorce petition. She was not contesting anything. Not the split, not the house, not even the car. It was like she'd already detached herself from everything we built, as if the marriage had ended months ago and I just had not been notified yet. That should have made things easier, but it did not. There was something deeply cold about it, this quick unraveling of a life we spent decades stitching together. She was not angry. She was not defensive. She was done. And that made her betrayal feel surgical. Precise. Like she'd been planning her exit long before the affair even started. Claire texted me again that afternoon. She wanted to meet for lunch. I agreed. We picked a quiet place, the kind of family-owned diner where the napkins are clothed and they still serve me loaf like it's 1955. When she walked in, I saw the weight in her eyes too. She looked older than 28. Worn out from standing between two people she never thought would split. She sat down across from me and did not say anything at first. Just reached over and squeezed my hand. I'm sorry, she whispered, for not seeing it sooner. For assuming I nodded, you do not need to apologize. She lied to us, Dad, to all of us. I could see the working through her in real time. The confusion, the grief. It was not just my marriage that had died, her image of her mother had shattered too. And that grief was layered. Complicated. I did not want to speak too much and make it worse, but I also needed her to understand something. She is not evil, I said slowly, but she is selfish. And selfish people can do good things, raise good kids, build a life, and still burn it all down for something they think they deserve more. Claire wiped at her eyes with her sleeve. She said she was unhappy for a long time, that you did not listen, that you were always working, always somewhere else. I laughed under my breath, not out of amusement, but from the sheer nerve of it. Yeah, I was working to keep us afloat, to pay for college, to fix the roof, to cover her dad's medical bills when insurance would not. I worked so she would not have to worry. She said she felt invisible, Claire added. Then she should have spoken up, I said, not whispered it to another man. Claire just nodded. There was not anything left to say after that. When we finished eating, she hugged me tight, tighter than she had in years, and said, I'm with you. Whatever happens next, I'm with you. It should have made me feel stronger. But I just felt tired. Later that evening, I got a message from Adam, my youngest, short, blunt. You re better off, Dad. She is not who I thought she was. I stared at it for a long time. Typed 3 replies and erased all of them. Finally sent back. Thanks, kid. That means more than you know. That night I sat outside the motel watching headlights flicker down the highway like fireflies that forgot how to blink. I thought about the years I gave her. The birthdays. The vacations. The nights I held her hair while she threw up from the flu. The anniversaries I tried to make special even when money was tight. The way I used to watch her sleep and think if I die tomorrow, I'll die a lucky man. And then I thought about how she walked away from all of it without even flinching. Not with rage. Not with heartbreak. But with indifference. That's what finally broke something in me. Not the cheating. Not the lies. The ease. Like I was just a chapter she finished reading. Like closing the book was never going to keep her up at night. 3 days after I left, she showed up at the motel. No warning. No message. No call ahead. Just a soft knock on the door of room 203 like she was delivering room service instead of 35 years of scorched earth. I opened the door and there she was, Rebecca, in a slate gray coat and scarf holding a paper bag from the bakery we used to go to on Sundays. Her hair was down. Lipstick on. She looked rested. Like betrayal had become a skin she wore comfortably now. I brought you breakfast, she said like nothing had happened. I stared at her dead silent. I did not move. Not out of shock. But because I knew if I let her inside even one step she tried to rewrite everything. She tried to soften the wreckage with croissants and calm tones. Why are you here? I asked flat. I thought maybe we could talk one last time without lawyers. Lawyers are the only honest thing between us now. She flinched just slightly but recovered quick. I'm not here to argue, Mike. I know I hurt you. I know I broke something that probably can't be fixed. But I think we should at least end it properly. End it properly. As if there was a tidy, elegant way to destroy someone else's life. As if the cheating, the lies, the years of emotional starvation could be cleaned up with a civilized conversation and a bag of warm pastries. I already ended it, I said. The moment you told me your heart was never mine. I walked out. That was the cleanest break I'll ever make. She stepped back, holding the paper bag a little tighter. You're not even going to hear me out. No, I said, and I meant it. You think you've got it all figured out, do not you? She snapped, then voice cracking through the facade. That I'm the villain and you the heartbroken saint. You are the villain, I said. Not because you fell out of love. But because you stayed. You stayed and lied and used me as your emotional airbag while you rode shotgun in someone else's car. That shut her up. She took a long breath, the kind you take when the mask starts to slip and you do not like what's underneath. Her fingers twitched. She did not look at me now. She looked past me at the plain beige curtain behind the bed, at the TV bolted to the wall anywhere but my face. Then she said it. I loved you in my own way. I almost left. You loved me the way a person loves an old chair. Comfortable, reliable, always there when you needed to sit down. And when it started to creak, you replaced it quietly. She shook her head, ice glassy now. I did not plan any of this. I did not want it to happen. But I could not keep living like I was invisible. Then maybe you should have left before you started crawling into someone else's bed. Her jaw tightened. She placed the bag on the small table by the door like that gesture would somehow erase everything she'd done. Then she turned slowly. I guess there's nothing left to say, she murmured. There was, I replied. But you spent 2 years saying it to someone else. She left. Did not slam the door. Did not cry. Just walked away like she was stepping out of a hotel room, not the ruins of our life together. I did not touch the bag. Just stared at it until the sun hit it through the blinds and made the paper look brittle. And then I threw it out. A week after she left the motel, the papers were signed. No drawn-out battles. No last-minute pleas. Just clean signatures on a few pages that held more weight than any vow we ever exchanged. 35 years reduced to a stack of documents, and an official case number in the county clerk's office. I did not feel relief. I did not feel heartbreak. I felt empty, but not the sad kind of empty. The cleared-out kind. Like someone had finally dragged the furniture out of a burned-down house and left it exposed to the wind. What really gutted me came 2 days later when I got a call from Adam. He had not spoken much since this all broke. He was always the quiet one, even as a kid. Thoughtful. Watched everything. When I picked up, I expected small talk. A check-in. But his voice was tense, too sharp for his usual tone. "I saw her with him," he said flatly. "They were at the marina. Holding hands." She introduced him like nothing happened. I did not say anything. My jaw locked so tight I could feel the molars grind. "She looked happy," Adam added, and I could hear the disgust in his voice. "Like a damn teenager. Like none of this destroyed anything." And that's when I realized Rebecca was not mourning anything. She was not remorseful. She'd already moved on. While I was still sweeping up the shards of everything we built, she was off playing house with the guy who helped her tear it all down. She told me she did not want to talk about it anymore. Adam said, voice low now. Said I was being judgmental. Of course she did. Rebecca never could handle being called out. She dressed her choices in velvet and expected people to applaud the softness, not question the mess underneath. "I'm done with her for now," Adam finished. "I just wanted you to know that conversation stuck with me. Not because I wanted the kids to hate her, I did not. But because her mask was finally slipping for them too. They were starting to see the version of her I'd lived with in silence for years, self-serving, deflective, manipulative when backed into a corner. And still a part of me missed her. Not her exactly, but the version of her that I believed in. The one who used to cry during old movies. Who made pancakes in the shape of initials for the kids. Who'd fall asleep on my shoulder during road trips, trusting me to get us wherever we were going. That woman had been dead a long time, and I had not even known it. The worst part of the trail is not the act, it's the replay. The constant mental theater that starts the second you close your eyes. The sudden brutal clarity when you remember moments that used to be sweet and realize, oh. She was already gone then too. There was one night, I remember it clearly now, about 1.5 years ago. We were at a friend's anniversary party. People dancing, laughing, drinks flowing. I turned to look for Rebecca and caught her watching me from across the room. But it was not the way she used to look at me. There was no warmth. Just this strange detachment. A calculation in her eyes, like she was taking inventory. That look haunted me now. I sat outside that night, beer in hand, staring at the sky. The stars did not look peaceful. They looked cold, unmoving, like reminders that the universe does not care whether you stay or go, whether you love or lie. I checked my phone later out of habit. Nothing from her. Not even a hope you were doing okay. She had vanished from my life like a ghost that never planned to haunt. Just gone. That kind of silence. That's not guilt. That's a woman who believes she was entitled to the exit, that it was a Tuesday when I saw her again. Unexpected, uninvited, and exactly the kind of moment you do not prepare for because deep down you hope it never comes. I was walking through the hardware store of all places, needed a new shower head for the apartment I'd rented. A modest little 2-bedroom above a tailor shop. Smelled like mothballs and old cedar. But it was mine. Clean slate. I turned the corner into aisle 7. And there she was. Rebecca in front of the paint samples, holding a swatch in one hand and her phone in the other. Laughing. His voice echoed faintly from the speaker. "Mark." I knew it was him before I even registered the words. Her laugh gave it away. I froze. Not out of fear. Just disbelief. 35 years with someone. And still they could knock the breath out of your lungs like a punch you did not see coming. She looked up and spotted me. Her smile did not even fade. She just blinked once. Adjusted her scarf and said, "Michael," like we were old co-workers running into each other at a conference. I nodded. Could not find the words at first. My hand clenched around the box in my basket, copper pipe fittings. Funny how your body prepares for war even when there's nothing left to fight for. Did not expect to see you here, she said casually, slipping her phone into her purse. You look good. I'm doing fine, I said, keeping my voice steady. Thanks. Then, because some part of me still needed to scratch the scab, I asked you two living together now. Her eyes did not flinch. Not yet. But probably soon. She said it like she was talking about weather. I could not stop myself. You moved on fast. Her smile shrank. Just a fraction. I've been gone a long time, Mike. You just did not notice that line again, like it was supposed to excuse everything. No. I said I noticed. I just did not think you'd become the kind of person who'd lie in someone's arms while pretending to sleep next to me. That hit her not hard, but enough to make her shift her weight. Glanced down at the swatch in her hand like it suddenly mattered more than anything I could say. I did not come here to argue. She said. You did not come here at all? I replied. You read just here like a rerun I never asked for. A silence settled between us. Not hostile, not awkward, just empty. Then she stepped forward, lowered her voice. You know, you were not always the man I needed you to be. And there it was, the final twist of the knife, the rebranding of my loyalty as a flaw, my commitment as failure. I laughed, but it was not from humor. It was the last breath before I drowned in disbelief. No, I said, I was the man who stayed while you were out looking for someone new to blame for your boredom. Her expression changed then barely, a twitch in her jaw, a hardening in her eyes. And for a second I saw the real her, not the soft-voiced storyteller, the version she hid from the kids, the one who could justify betrayal if it meant she did not have to feel guilt. I hope you find what you were looking for, Rebecca. I said, and I meant it, not because I forgave her, but because I needed to walk away clean. No more pieces of me left behind in her hands. As I turned and walked away, I realized something that had not fully clicked until that moment. She was not sorry. She never had been. She did not miss me. She missed the version of herself that did not have to face consequence. And now that her fantasy had legs and a last name, she could live in it fully without ever looking back. I got into my car, shut the door, and sat in the stillness. I should have felt broken. Instead, I felt done being the fool, done waiting for apologies, done carrying the weight of someone else's decision. The strangest thing about real healing is that it does not feel like you think it will. It does not come with fireworks or clarity, or some triumphant sunrise over the ashes of your old life. It arrives slow, uneven, like learning to walk again after someone kicked your legs out from under you while pretending to hold your hand. It was about a month after I saw her at the hardware store. A month of quiet, of waking up in a bed that smelled like nothing, of cooking dinner for one and not checking my phone every 10 minutes, of silence that did not feel like punishment anymore, but peace. I had not heard from Rebecca since that day. Not a text. Not an accidental call. Just nothing. The void she left behind was vast, but also somehow clean. She was gone in every real sense now. And with every day that passed, it became easier to accept the truth I'd been running from since I found that first message. She was never coming back. And worse, she never planned to. One morning, I opened my email and saw a message from Tyler, my middle kid. The subject line was, "Thought you'd want to see this." It was a link to Mark's public Facebook post. A photo of him and Rebecca arms around each other at some kind of engagement dinner. Candlelight. Smiles. The caption read, "Grateful for second chances and real love. Could not ask for a better partner in this next chapter." I stared at the screen for a long time. Not because I was heartbroken, not anymore, but because of how performative it all was. Like they were not even trying to be subtle about it. No acknowledgement of the destruction behind them. Just shiny, filtered love built on the bones of my marriage. I did not reply to Tyler. I knew what he was trying to do. Warn me. Or maybe let me have my outrage. But there was nothing left to burn. The fire was long gone. All that remained was the smoke, and even that was fading. That night I went for a walk. Not far. Just a few blocks around my new neighborhood. It was quiet. Safer than it looked. I passed by couples walking dogs, a teenager skateboarding down the curb, a group of old men playing cards under a porch light. Life. Normal, mundane, steady life. The kind I had not really paid attention to in years. And somewhere in that walk, I caught myself thinking about my future. Not hers. Not what she was doing or who she was with or how she was spinning the story to her friends. Mine. I did not know what it would look like yet. But I knew it would not involve tiptoeing around someone else's contempt. It would not include begging for scraps of affection or wondering why someone could not even fake love for the sake of decency. For the first time in a long time, I thought about traveling. I'd always wanted to go out west, drive through Montana, see the Rockies, eat at every roadside diner that smelled like burnt coffee and fried bacon. That dream had collected dust in the corners of our marriage. I swept it out that night. Back at the apartment, I pulled out an old notebook and started writing down plans. Not for revenge. Not for rebound. Just things. Places I wanted to see. Books I wanted to read. Things I put off because I thought my job was to wait around and make someone else happy. Rebecca once told me during a fight years ago that I did not live with urgency. That I did not take charge of life. I remember feeling stunned because I thought building a home, raising 3 kids, showing up every day without fail that was living. That was everything. But now I understood what she meant. She meant I did not chase novelty. I did not break the rules. I did not blow up stability for a thrill. And thank God I did not. She mistook steadiness for stagnation. She thought chaos felt like love because it moved fast. Burned bright. But fire destroys. It does not build. And me? I'm building again. Brick by brick. It's strange the way life closes doors without ceremony. No echoing slam. No final scream. Just a soft click and silence. That's how it felt the day I got the final confirmation. The divorce was official. Signed, filed and sealed. I was no longer her husband. Not legally, not emotionally, not in name or memory. We were done. And it did not come with a breakdown. It came with breakfast. I was sitting at a small cafe near the apartment, sipping coffee that tasted too strong and not strong enough at the same time. Rain hit the windows in lazy taps. The world did not pause. No dramatic music, no cinematic moment. Just life continuing exactly as it always had. As if she was never part of it. I checked my phone. Nothing from her. Of course not. I did not expect anything. I did not want anything. But part of me still noticed the absence. That quiet space where she used to live in my thoughts had finally gone still. Not empty still. That's the difference. There was no more wait. No more what-ifs. No more replays of that night she sat across from me and said the words that would dismantle 35 years of history like they were nothing. My heart was never yours. I used to replay that like a car crash. Now it's just background noise, an old song I do not feel anymore. I paid the bill and left a tip bigger than necessary. Not out of generosity. Out of gratitude for being awake again. For having the freedom to walk into the world without dragging someone else's deception behind me like an anchor. I walked home the long way. Past a bookstore, a bakery, a park where 2 kids were throwing a frisbee with their dad. The little one tripped, fell face first into the grass, and the dad scooped him up, kissed his forehead and laughed. It hit me then what I really lost. Not just a marriage. Not even trust. I lost time. Years of loyalty poured into someone who was already looking over my shoulder at her escape route. Years I see and not get back, and yet I do not want them back because I would not have become this without them. This version of me, the one who survived. And yeah, I survived. People always act like heartbreak will kill you. But it does not. It hardens you in places, softens you in others. It teaches you to stop romanticizing red flags just because they read draped in nostalgia. And if you're lucky, it reminds you of who the hell you are when no one else watching. So here's what I know now. Rebecca did not ruin me. She revealed me. She forced me to look at the cracks I'd painted over. Forced me to remember that comfort is not love and that loyalty does not mean lying to yourself for the sake of someone else's convenience. She's living her next chapter now with a man who thinks winning her means something. I pity him. Not because he's a bad man, but because he does not know what it's like to love someone who has already practiced her exit before the door even creaks. As for me, I'm not looking for revenge. I'm not looking for another person to fill the silence. I'm learning how to enjoy the quiet, how to be alone without being lonely, how to rebuild not from ashes, but from intention. If you're rereading this, if you've been through something like this, let me say something I wish someone had said to me when the world was falling out from under my feet. You do not need their closure. You do not need their apology. You do not need their permission to start over. You just need one thing, the decision to stop handing pieces of yourself to someone who never deserved to hold them. She left. She lied. She has gone. And I'm still standing.